Your feelings are irrelevant. What matters is your word, your commitment, your decision to be all in. That is what actually matters. That is what's actually important. People talk about motivation. They talk about, when things go right, I'll do this. When the moment is perfect, or when I get the right headspace, or when this changes, I'll do it. Motivation is fleeting. Motivation will ebb and flow like you wouldn't believe. Down to things like sleep, what you've got going on, better distractions, things that are more interesting, things that are more desirable. All of these things will call to you, and that motivation will disappear. What matters is not how motivated you are, but your commitment, how valuable your word is to, doing the job, doing the work. People are looking for this guarantee and this motivation and to get fired up and ready to do this work. But motivation means jack shit. The only thing that motivation actually matters for is to give you that initial commitment, to give you that initial push to do the work, to get started, to decide that where you are is no longer acceptable and you must actually push forward into a better version of you, a better life. That is the only time motivation is acceptable. That is the only time when motivation is, worthwhile. The rest of the time, you need to rely on your commitment, your discipline, the fact that you gave your word, now it has to get done. And that's the end of the story. That you said it was happening, therefore it's happening. That should be enough. But we spent too much of our life, and I think it's become a societal norm, but we spent far too long just doing what feels good. If you don't feel like it, don't do it. If it doesn't feel good to you, if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Fucking bullshit. No. You do the work regardless of your feelings. You do the work because the work is required. And in fact, every time you don't feel like doing it, every time you feel like it's too much, it's too hard, you're tired, you're overwhelmed, whatever the reason might be, and you still show the fuck up and you do it, those are the days that are going to march you down the line so much further than the days when you're pumped up and ready for it. It just comes down to, what are you willing to do no matter what? And that's what separates us. People want these guarantees in life. They're like, what guarantee is there that your program will work, or this workout, or whatever it might be? What's the guarantee? Here's my answer. You need to go into the mirror, go into the bathroom, look in the mirror. That's the guarantee. You are the guarantee. One way or the other. You're either the guarantee that it's going to fail, or you're the guarantee that it's going to work. Because in nearly every scenario, bar, sure, we could argue the extremes of things when people get scammed, but barring those, the reason why something doesn't work is because you didn't do the work. It has nothing to do with the workout, the diet, the program, the business plan, whatever it might be. No, it has everything to do with you and your follow through. And if you are scared, if you are hesitant, if you are worried about it, and you're looking for someone on the other side to guarantee it, well, that's about you, not them. Because, I can put up the guarantee. I can guarantee if you actually do the work, if you actually follow through, if you actually do everything I tell you to do, I'll change your life. You'll be a different fucking human being very quickly. But my guarantee is worthless because it also comes down to you. It comes down to who you are, and it comes down to the work that you're willing to do. Remember, there is no cost if you know you're going to follow through. It's just an investment into you. There is no cost because it's just an investment and you will get a return on investment. It is only a cost if you spend the money and get nothing back from it. That's the cost. But if you know that you're going to go all in, if you know that you're going to show the fuck up and leave everything on the table, then you're just investing into you. And that's a solid as fuck ROI. That's worth its weight in gold. But it comes down to how much are you willing to commit? Are you a man of your word? Once you've said I'm in, are you actually in? Are you actually in to do the work? Because that's the difference maker. That's the determinant. Whether you'll follow through. Because, I get asked and then people are like, well, how do you work out every day? Are you always motivated? I'm like, fuck no. Absolutely not. Today I didn't want a bar of it. Today I did not want to do it at all. It's cold. My son has had a sleep regression. I spent the night, in his bed trying to get him to sleep through the night so my wife could have a decent night's sleep. I am tired as fuck. I did not want a bar of the workout today. It would have been so much easier to just go out into my office, sit down, hang out, do fuck all. And no one would have ever known. No one would ever know. And this is the thing about these commitments. This is the thing about keeping your word. The thing about changing where you are in life is that in most of the situations, on a day-to-day basis, nobody is going to know. Because it's just you and you. They won't know, but you'll know. You'll know, and it eats away at you. You'll know that you're a liar. You'll know that you aren't keeping your word. You'll know that you did not do the work. And that's a greater issue than someone else knowing could ever be. Because, who's with you 24/7? Who's hanging around with you all the time? Who is there for every moment and influences every moment and decision and choice? It's fucking you. This is you and you. But most people will be way harsher on others than they ever are on themselves. And people talk a big game about how harsh they are on themselves and that they're really, hard on themselves to make sure they do the work. But if you look at your life, you look at your results, you look at everything that you have, well, that's keeping the score. You can talk a big game. You can talk about all the things you do. You can talk about how hard you work out in the gym and how on point your nutrition is and how dedicated and motivated you are. But the reality is that, especially when we're talking your body, your physique, how you look after that, it's keeping the score. You can't bullshit that. It shows. You're a walking billboard for your discipline, your dedication, and your follow-through. That's why I talk about the fitness game being the ultimate tool to teach you everything you need to know. Because, well, you can't bullshit it. It is or it isn't, and there's nothing in between. That it is a walking billboard of, did you do the work? Yes, no. For an extended period of time? Yes, no. With effort, intensity, and consistency? Yes or no. And it says everything you need to know. And you can't lie about that. You can't steal it. You can't buy it. You can't cheat your way there. And especially as you get older. Especially as you get older. And you gain more responsibilities. You know, it's one thing in your 20s when you've got zero responsibilities going on. It's another thing in your 30s when you're a parent and you've got business and you've got commitments and you've got family and you've got all these kinds of things that are now on the table. Like I've spoken before, I look back at some of the things I used to say when I was young and dumb. I just want to fucking smack me across the head. I used to talk about how everybody has 24 hours in the day and we all have the same opportunities. We just make different choices. And that is fucking bullshit. Absolute and utter bullshit. You as a parent, especially as a working parent, is vastly different to who you are as a single man or even in a long-term relationship. Very, very different. But you still have choices. We have vastly different 24 hours. That's undeniable. Like, sleep is not within my control. That is dictated by a small human that I love more than life. But I still have choices. I still have choices about how I use my time. I still have choices about how I prioritize my time. You have these choices. How you utilize your time, especially when it is compressed and not always your own, highlights your values. I value being the best version of myself. And being the best version of myself demands that I am in the best shape I can be. My impossible goal is that every year I get into better shape. Every year I improve. Every year I push the needle a little bit more. Is that plausible? Is it possible? Pretty much no, is the answer. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to fucking chase it. Because I'm here at 34 years old and I am in better shape than I've ever been in my entire life. Stronger, fitter, leaner, healthier, all of the things. It comes down to what you prioritize. And no, a six-pack ab is not the be-all or end-all. It's fucking nice. But it's a byproduct of becoming the man I needed to be to do this. It's a byproduct of following through with intensity, effort, and consistency. It's the byproduct of all the things that I needed to do to be this man. And that's where you need to get to as well. No, it's not about just being in great shape. It's a nicety. It's a benefit that comes with it. But it's about what you have to do along the way to be that guy. That is what's going to leave a mark. That's what's going to separate you. And that's what's going to make the fucking difference down the line. That you actually follow through. And you actually do the work. That you don't rely on motivation. You rely on a zero choice mentality. You rely on you gave your word, therefore it's getting done. That's what matters. That's what's going to separate you. That's what's also going to deliver the results you want. Because if you only do this when you're motivated, you're fucked. You are. It's why people dabble in the gym. It's also why people pay for my services. Because now you're held accountable. Most people do not have the wherewithal to push through. The ability to continue to do it no matter what. Most people don't have it to even show up 3 or 4 times a week and do the work. As we said the other day, fitness in a nutshell is very simple. Pick up heavy shit, put it back down again. Repeat. Eat lots of protein, drink water, do your best to get good amounts of sleep. about it. But my job, and the majority of the fitness industry's job, revolves around making sure you actually do it, that you've got skin in the game to do it. Look, if you can do this on your own, I have listed across the last 450 days all the skills that you could possibly need. You can go back through, and I've even detailed out in very specific, actionable steps on what you can do. All you got to do is do them. But most people won't. Most people don't have that follow through. That's why they want guarantees, because they're looking for you to guarantee that they'll do the work. That's not how this works. You have to be the guarantee. You're the one who decides. You're the one who's going to show up and do the work. Or not. You're the guarantee that either you'll be a man of your word and follow through, or you're the guarantee that you're not that guy yet, so you're going to just piss it away. You're going to take it as knowledge and then just not do it. These are the separators between the two. So it comes down to, well, what actually matters to you? And it's not one grand decision. It's not one massive gesture towards being that guy. No, what it is making a decision, deciding that you're going to be a man of your word, and then making that decision over and over and over and over again. The reason why my program is laid out the way it is, with the workouts, with the weighted walks, with those kinds of things, is that the conditions are going to be variable. There are going to be days where you don't want to fucking bar this, and you have to get it done anyway, where you have to figure it out anyway. That's the point, because it teaches you that unwavering skill that you must do it every single day, no matter what, no matter your feelings, no matter what's going on in your life. You must continue to do it, to continue to show up. There are certainly days where I still don't want to borrow this, where I find it ridiculously hard to make that decision. And I've been doing this a long ass time, because your body's always drawn back to comfort. It's always drawn back to ease. It's always drawn back to the simplest way possible. And you must override that. You know, we have family day on Sunday. It's my kid's favorite day of the week. And I love that. I love that. But as my kids are early risers, usually up at about, 5 a.m., 6 a.m. and to sleep in, it's not like I can get up earlier to get this shit done. And then we usually go out the entirety of the day. It would be so easy on the Sundays to skip my workout, to skip my weighted walk, to do those kinds of things. But those are the days that count. They're the days that actually make the difference. They're the days that separate me from others. They're the days where, as I said, it marches me down the line. It pushes me, 100 yards further than the days where it's easy, where I'm motivated, where I have space to do these kinds of things. Because the days where it feels impossible and I get it done anyway, I am wiring my brain towards being that guy. I am wiring my brain, creating neuroplasticity, creating new pathways, that it doesn't matter what is said, I am a man of my word. I'm teaching myself that doing hard shit matters. And it's the same as pushing yourself within the workouts, There's also a big difference between showing up and doing the work. Yeah. Showing up, you're better than the guy who's on the couch. Fantastic. Good job. But now we're trying to find out if you've got what it takes to demand greatness. Now we're trying to find out if you've got what it takes to give it everything, to leave it all out there. Every rep, every set, every workout. And it's not about the physical, it's about the mental. It's about who that defines you as. It's about what that generates for you on that front. about what is given because you followed through, no matter what. You showed up, no matter what. These are the things that make a difference. These are the things that are going to separate you, that are going to deliver, well, everything you want out of this life. Because it isn't about being motivated. It's about being a man of your word. And that is the greatest gift that you can give yourself, your family, your children, those people you serve, everyone in your life. The greatest gift that you could ever deliver for them is to be a man of your word and to be known for that. And it takes a long ass time, but it begins with that first decision, that first moment of clarity, that first time you go, well, I am going to do this. I am going to be this guy. And it's like that old saying, when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the second best time to plant a tree? Today. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for it to be perfect. Stop waiting for everything to align, for when things are less chaotic, or I have more money, or I have more time, or whatever your excuse is for it. Stop putting it off, because that time is passing regardless of the choices that you make. What matters now is that you make the choice, that you make the decision and you do the work. That you make the decision and you follow through. That's what matters. That's what makes the difference. That's the difference maker in this situation. That you actually do the work required. That you actually follow through. So the question becomes then, are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to commit? Are you willing to put aside all the quote-unquote reasons as to why you can't do it right now and actually make a decision? Because once you make a decision and you follow through, and then you keep following through, suddenly everything in your life gets easier. Suddenly everything in your life gets simpler, because you know that you can follow through on one thing. You're now creating a record, a history, a credit score of yourself, that you're a man who can do the work no matter what. That if you say it's getting done, it's getting done. That it isn't dependent on your feelings, because your feelings are bullshit. It is only dependent on if you said it was happening. That's the only defining feature. So if you are ready for that, if you are ready to step forward, if you're ready to actually become the man that you know you should be, then click the link in my bio, join Demanding Greatness, and let's get you stuck in. Let's start holding you accountable. Let's hold you up, that mirror up, so that you can see who you truly are and start becoming the man that you know you should be. It is going to be uncomfortable. It is going to be hard work, but it is going to be the best decision that you've ever made. So if you are ready for that, as I said, click the link in my bio. Let's get you into Demanding Greatness, and I'll see you there.